What is your take about what has transpired?
It is about that time when retired General President Museveni is servicing his vehicle. When you go for service, they usually write on the service card that after this mileage, you come back and we will do a service. I remember in 2011, I happened to be doing some work in Rushere, just close to the president's rural home in Rachtura. And we had some conversations over coffee with a professor, a colleague that we were working with. And he reminded us that President Museveni once said that the NRM is his Mercedes-Benz. So he, every 5 years, he removes the worn-out parts, and then he replaces them with the new parts. So it is about that time of his reign in power that he's doing another service cycle. This could be the 7th or 6th.
7th.
Yeah. I think Charles Onyango usually captures those terms properly. He says President Museveni is going to run for his 9th term. Yeah, he says the 2 military terms, then the others that have come subsequently. So he's servicing his vehicle. He's a purge. He takes out those that he doesn't need, and then he's able to bring in new blood, new boys and girls who can run and forget the entrance to their homes and run past their homes. When you are a young person, you are energetic, and you have just got a new bike, you can ride past your home. So the feud that you have seen between Right Honorable Anita Mong and Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga is one where you have one that has already outlived her usefulness. The Right Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, her usefulness to Museveni's political machine belongs to the past. Then you have one who is already willing to run past her home. The Right Honorable Anita Mong. So she still has that energy, and President Museveni really likes that because it is those hungry, smart, or hungry, hardworking kids that you need on the block. When you're executing a scheme like he's executing. The NRM is not a party. I have submitted here. It doesn't meet the basic requirements of a party. So it's Museveni's gig. It's just on his gig.
And I was about to ask you why you keep on saying Museveni is servicing his car when we have very many people assembled in Kololo to actually make the choice.
I have a very simple answer for you, Kenneth.
Of the political party.
I have a very simple answer for you, Kenneth. Has President Museveni ever gone through an election in NRM? You give me your answer. Even popes are elected. People go into a conclave to elect a pope. I even laugh at Ugandans. Recently I wrote on social media, I said, those people who are stumbling into the 2026 general election are like uninitiated boys who are winking at a girl in the dark. Because you see, a man who has never subjected himself to any form of election, even while still in the bush, how do you expect him to conduct a free and fair election for the country and you defeat him at the ballot? Except if you are an accomplice and you're a groomsman like I've submitted here before. Look, in the Bush War, President Museveni was head of the military wing. After the combination of his PRA and Professor Yusuf Lule's group. So they created the National Resistance Army, the National Resistance Movement. Now, Professor Yusuf Lule was the head of the political wing. After the demise of Professor Lule, was there an election? President Museveni was the vice chairperson because by virtue of his position as the leader of the military wing, he was the vice chairperson. So was there an election? Because you see, once a chairman, you would say he was holding the position temporarily or in the interim to allow the group, the political wing of the group and the military wing to convene and they hold elections. Did they ever elect him? He was never elected. He became a leader of the NRM by default. Okay, so that shows you character. He's a man who fears elections. So a man who cannot subject himself to election in a vehicle he has created, nurtured, and brought to this point. How do you expect him to organize a free and fair national election? We just have to be realistic and face these things for what they are. So Ugandans should stop, engaging in what I call political masturbation.
All right.
Yes.
Let's go to Honorable Kabbyanga. I don't know if you are attending the delegates conference as an NRM member. I don't know, but let's hear you take on what is transpiring, what you have seen so far?
I think what I've seen so far, first of all, NRM is a party. And it's also not right to say President Museveni has never subjected himself to an election. He has subjected himself to general elections here, and he has won.
No, in his party.
In his own party, there is open competition, and they normally call people to go and pick forms.
Do you remember
expression of interest? Yes, Okotogong, and they negotiated. And who hates going through unopposed? If you can negotiate with your opponent and he gives up the slot for you, what's wrong with that? Tango Doi announced that it's time to pick nomination forms. And for chairman, President Museveni picked alone. For vice chairperson, people picked. Honorable Alhaji Chigongo didn't pick alone. But eventually when they brought back the forms, by the way. But when they went to SEC, they negotiated with them and they decided to leave Honorable Chigongo to run unopposed. So the issue of saying that President Museveni has never subjected himself to an election, that one I don't agree with.
But
let's allow him to conclude. We'll respond to him.
I don't agree with. But what is happening now, NRM is in elections to elect leaders who will run the party for the next 5 years. You have seen the competition is high. All these things you are looking at, all this competition, all these fights, it's because the NRM is a mass party, and everybody wants to associate with it, and people want to take leadership. The only thing I would like to request all those who are competing is that you should go into an election knowing you can either win or lose, and therefore it shouldn't be a must win. And when you lose, you should accept honorably and say probably the people have chosen. Today there were elections, and you yourself, you have already told us the winners. Jim Muwezi, a historical has lost here to a lieutenant, and that is all. That's democracy at work. And Lydia Wanyoto, I hear, has also lost to another little known woman. That's democracy. Exactly, that's democracy. So that shows that really there is internal democracy in NRM. But sometimes if it doesn't go your way, then you complain. And I could also say that democracy is not without problems.
Well, your colleague here, Mr. Gesa, suggests that that's a mere selection process. Actually, he uses that terminology that President Yoweri Museveni is actually changing engine oils, servicing his car, his Benz, removing the parts he does not want. That is his own analogy. But what do you say it is just selection? If a whole general can compete with the lieutenant, and the lieutenant takes the day. Let me give you an example.
You have said Lydia Wanyoto is a very popular woman.
All right.
And you are now saying he has been defeated by a little known.
Maybe
what else? What other type of election do you want?
Maybe those are the parts of the vehicles he does not want. Let's use the example of Moses Chigongo. There were people competing against Moses Chigongo. But they were told to step aside.
Moses Chigongo negotiated with them. And negotiating is part of the deal. Negotiating with your opponent is part of elections. If you can negotiate with your opponent and he leaves you to run alone, you are through. Why should you go for election if there is a window of negotiation? Yes, he negotiated with them. and they pulled out.
Was it negotiation or being threatened?
No.
You're like telling people, no. This man is a historical in NRM seniority. If he still wants, let him be.
Nobody was threatened. I have not seen any one of them coming out to say I was threatened.
What about Zaire?
All right.
Zaire, you heard how the president said, I negotiated with my brother and told him,
he was
please.
not running against the president.
No. For him, he had the other interests, family interests. You're getting me? Because those are things which are there. You know, even these elections, you see them. People may not vote you that because you're NRM. Some people can vote you because you are their relative.
Or because
because your friends. Even when you don't belong to the same party.
Or because you have money.
Even that one is there. They can vote you because you have given them money, and that one is true. Because there are some people who change their mind even on the day of voting just because someone has given them a little money. That one is also there. It's true. So there are so many factors at play. And therefore, if the president thinks this is Zaire here, if he comes into the race, he can jeopardize my bigger picture. Why not negotiate with them?
All right.
And say, please, you leave this.
So according to you, whatever is happening is democracy working in the NRM party?
Dynamics of democracy working in the NRM party.
All right.
But that doesn't mean there are no things that are not right.
All right.